is my informative speech on the history of baseball. Babe Ruth once said that baseball was, is, and always will be the greatest sport ever played. Baseball is a growing game, though. From the Little League World Series held annually in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, all the way to the Major League, where every player has the same dream at the end of the season, to hoist the World Series crown. But many people don't know where baseball began and what it's based off of. Baseball is based off of the English game of rounders. It was founded here in the United States by Alexander Cartwright. He would host games against his team at Elysian Fields in New York. The first Major League wasn't created until 1871, and it was called the National Association. Baseball began in what was known as the dead ball era. It was a time period of larger fields, less home runs, and speed was of vital importance. The ball that was pitched with was typically used to the point that it began to unravel, and with that ball, pitchers were allowed to scuff, cut, and spit on it, effectively being able to make the ball dance and harder to hit. People put the end of the dead ball era on the 1919 season, when Babe Ruth hit an unheard of 21 home runs. People began to pack the stands to see the long ball, so owners decreased the dimensions of the field, thus increasing the odds of someone hitting it. They also added rules to the pitchers against scuffing and cutting the ball, and the balls were switched out much more frequently too. The MLB didn't start until 1876 with the National League, and then they brought in the American League in 1901. The first World Series was held in 1903 with the Boston Americans defeating the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-3. Baseball always hasn't been as glorified as it was though. It experienced rough times in the 1940s, the 1960s, and also in the early 70s, with the World War II era and the Vietnam era. During these times, the players would go and serve the United States in the war, and baseball would have to replace them with less talented people. But upon return, the baseball returned to its once precedent self. The Major League today consists of 30 teams, 29 spread out across the United States, and 1, the Toronto Blue Jays in Canada. We are now known in what is called the Power Age because home run totals are much higher than they once were, and pitching stats aren't as great. The MLB Hall of Fame is located in Cooperstown, New York, where every player dreams to be. Certain feats are bestowed there, like 27 players have hit 3,000 hits in their careers. The most recent was Houston Astro Craig Biggio. And only 3 players, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and Barry Bonds, have more than 700 home runs. But it's not all about the hitters. There are great pitching stats too. Only 2 pitchers have more than 400 wins. And also, there are only 4 with more than 4,000 strikeouts, one of which, Nolan Ryan, has 5,000. So as you can see, baseball is a growing sport. From the dead ball